Hello everybody, welcome back to the sessions on power electronics by Ramana. This is the 21st session in this series and we will be discussing the working of parallel inverters, single phase parallel inverters in this 21st session. In the previous session, we have discussed the concept of inverters, classification, their applications, and particularly we have elaboratedly discussed the working of series inverters, which are the most primitive type of inverters and the simplest ones in the classification, and their advantages and disadvantages. Just to recall the working of series inverters, the design of the series inverters will be such that the commutating components are connected in series with the load, or you can say that it is nothing but the load commutated or self commutated inverter where commutating components are connected in series. And in the previous session we have discussed its working along with the resistive load, and if an inductive load were added, then the load impedance becomes more. The again in class A type of commutation or load commutation, the different methods will come into picture. For less inductive load and for higher inductive loads, how will they vary? They depend on the commutation circuits, how the L and C are connected in parallel or series with the load. And now we extend our discussion to the next type, next simplest type after the series, which are parallel inverters. In this session we will be discussing the working of parallel inverters, particularly with resistive load, and also we will try to extend our discussion to understand the concept deeply, understand the working of the parallel inverters deeply by when the load is inductive, because it will be the mainly the load will be inductive in most of the cases. For AC, we will be converting DC into AC with the aid of these inverters, but ultimately the load will be inductive in most of the cases. So we will also extend our discussion to inductive loads also, where the circuit will be somewhat complex. So the objectives of this discussion are the working of a simple parallel inverter with a simple resistive load. Next, working of parallel inverter with feedback diodes which are a must to shape the waveform when the load is inductive, and again then advantage and disadvantage of parallel inverters. To start with, this is the basic circuit of a simple parallel inverter where commutating components are inductance and capacitance, but basically in this particular circuit, capacitor is the main commutating component which will be connected in parallel with the load, parallel with the source supply, and ultimately with the load in the transformer. Actually, this inverter implies a center tapped transformer, with 50% tapping at the center, and the source or DC supply will be given to the transformer, which is divided into two equal halves. That is, primary is divided into two equal halves. Number of turns in the upper half will be equal to number of turns in the lower half, and the turns ratio between the secondary and primary will be such that the voltage the load voltage or secondary induced voltage will be equal to the induced voltage in one half of the primary, or simply to say, the transformation ratio, that is secondary to primary voltage, will be 0.5, or it is a step down transformer where if you give 2V to the total primary winding, load will be getting only V. Now when you give VDC or V to one half of the primary winding, then load voltage will be V. That is what is shown over here. It is designed with turns ratios as NAC is equal to NBC is equal to N2 or number of turns of secondary is equal to number of turns of one half of the primary. So what happens eventually is V load voltage will be equal to VAC or VBC or ultimately VDC, which will be given to the given half of the primary. And the commutation employed here is where capacitor is connected in parallel with the load via the primary of the transformer. Nothing but it is a C-type forced commutation method, which is the simplest type of the forced commutation, and that is why it is called as parallel inverter. Single phase parallel inverter uses commutating capacitor C connected across supply source, therefore it is called as parallel inverter. Then what is the function of this L? This L or the inductance is connected in series with the source and the load via the primary. Obviously it controls the change in current, and this is the actual thing because of which the current will be controlled and allowed to vary sinusoidally or to vary as an alternating wave which gradually increases from a given value to the maximum value and then gradually decreases from maximum to minimum. And again, to start with, the foremost important thing we have to understand is transformers, which are obviously AC machines or AC equipment, which convert or which transfers energy from one side to the another side without changing the frequency and power, where primary will be given with AC and output from the secondary will also be AC, but here a DC voltage is given. What happens then? Obviously, when you give a DC supply, or it should be avoided, it cannot work under DC. What happens is, once you switch on the DC supply by giving it to the primary, it instantaneously at T is equal to 0. Once you switch on, it abruptly increases to the maximum value. So high change of current and high change of voltage will be there, as if it is a sudden spike, and only because of that, for a moment, for an instance, there will be induced EMF in the primary and the corresponding induced EMF in the secondary for a moment only. But what happens is, the windings will burn out, transformer will burn out. It will offer transformer action only for a moment when the value of the voltage changes from 0 to the 0 to its rated value or 0 to its maximum value. So how can you use this? That is what the inductor is meant for over here. You can say it as a reactor or of high inductance, which controls the change in current so that primary winding will not get burnt and eventually transformer action can take place. So that is how this transformer is made to work under this battery voltage or DC voltage. And the other circuitry components are our main components, which are SCRs. We employ two SCRs connected in anti-parallel to each other, which work in a given interval, one after the other alternately, and obviously according to the simple precautionary and working topologies and working precautions of any inverter. When a given SCR is conducting, the other SCR should always be compulsorily in off position. And this is the simple parallel inverter. We will be also discussing the parallel inverter with feedback diodes also in the after discussing this particular circuit. So this implies a voltage source, a center tap transformer, load is connected to the secondary of the center tap transformer, supply is given to the 50% tapping of the transformer. Now this will be positive, C will be positive and A will be negative for a given interval. In the next interval, C will be positive and B will be negative, or source will deliver the power in the directions shown like this. So that is the design of the circuit. And again the circuits are shown for the different given intervals to understand how they vary. This is a basic circuit, and the second figure shows the direction of currents and voltages and how it operates when T1 or SCR T1 is turned on. When SCR T1 is turned on. Once you switch on the supply at T is equal to 0 or at the required instant, T1 will be turned on, and as T1 is turned on, it closes, acts like a short circuit, where T2 acts like an open circuit, as it will be in reverse blocking condition as well as forward blocking condition, and the voltage will be applied in the direction shown between C and A and comes back, or C will be at positive, during this interval when compared to A, and B will be positive when compared to C. It is because it will be explained in a moment. First, to start with, when SCR or T1 is turned on with proper gate supply, current flows from the source via the inductor in the direction shown by the arrows, point C, point A, and via SCR T1 and back to the source. This is how the current flows. There will be a corresponding EMF induced inside the upper half of the primary in the direction CA, and the same flux will also be linking, a flux will be generated and EMF will be induced. Same flux will be flowing through the other half or lower half of the primary winding. So again, an EMF will also be induced inside the other part of the primary, but in the reverse direction, like this. And because of this thing, as the total primary has developed a flux and a voltage which is equal to twice the source voltage. In the upper half it is VDC, in the bottom half also it will be VDC, so total voltage will be 2 VDC. As a consequence, the capacitor which is connected across A and C or across the total primary winding, now it will be charged to a voltage as shown. That is, upper plate as negative, bottom plate as positive, or upper plate is connected to A which is negative in this interval. So capacitor will be charged to a voltage of 2 into supply voltage, or 2 VDC. And this is the main thing which drives the circuit actually. And now consider that the load is connected to the secondary, it may be resistive or inductive. Consider the simple case of resistive. What happens in this primary is the induced EMF inside the upper half of the primary. This is the only flux which will be responsible to link the secondary in this interval. So as number of turns of upper half of the primary and secondary number of turns are equal, the secondary induced EMF will be equal to VDC or supply voltage or this primary voltage. So eventually load voltage will be equal to VDC. Load voltage will be equal to VDC. And at the instant SCR1 or T1 is turned on, due to the inductance, current increases gradually. Current increases gradually and becomes zero after some instant. We will be going through the waveforms just in a moment, and that is what happens when T1 is turned on. When T1 is turned on, current flows through the upper half of the primary and load will get a voltage which is equal to the source voltage, and the corresponding current will be flowing through the load VDC by the load resistance or VDC by load impedance. Now consider the moment at which SCR T2, the other SCR is turned on. Other SCR is turned on. We have to take all the precautions, that is circuit turn off times and SCR turn off times. When SCR T2 is turned on, now the current takes the other path. Because T1 will be turned off, this acts like an open circuit. Current flows from the source, inductance. Now the point C, follow the direction of arrows, point C, and the bottom half of or lower half of the primary winding, point B, T2, and back to the source with the green dotted lines. It follows. So now the current flows only through the lower half of the primary but not in the upper half. But the total voltage induced in the primary will be again 2 VDC as in the previous case, but it will be in reverse. And with this again what happens is capacitor gets charged in reverse. But before that, capacitor should discharge first, which was charged like this in the previous interval. So what happens when SCR T2 is triggered or turned on is, first of all, this capacitor which is holding charge like this will discharge via T2. This positive plate of the capacitor is connected to the anode, and this voltage is 2 VDC, which is high when compared to the source voltage, which is only VDC. So the discharge of capacitor starts first, or it applies a reverse voltage across the T1 via T2. Consider this voltage positive, T2 will be closed, T1 will be still, take the T1 is still conducting, T2 is closed. So capacitor applies a voltage via T2 in reverse to the anode of the T1. So because of the opposition of the current or reverse biased voltage applied across T1, it gets turned off. Because of the capacitor voltage applied in reverse. And this happens till capacitor discharges and its voltage becomes equal to VDC and lower than VDC. Then the supply voltage and supply currents starts to flow via the inductance C, B, T2 and back to the source. And again now, because voltage source is higher and because of the bottom and now in the case as the lower half of the primary has become the actual supplying, or the main flux will be set up in the lower half. Now capacitor gets charged in the reverse to the first mode or first interval, where now A will become positive, B will become negative, or lower plate of the capacitor becomes negative, and eventually it will get charged to 2 VDC. But again the load will be getting a voltage which is equal to the voltage induced inside the lower half of the primary, that is only VDC. So load voltage will be again equal to VDC, and the current will be again eventually flowing just like in the first interval, but in reverse due to the reversal of supply voltage to the primary and eventually reversal of secondary induced EMF. Thus you will get current reversed in each cycle and also voltage reversed in each cycle. Because of the inductor you will be getting almost a shape of sinusoidal current, but voltage will be square in most of the cases. And again when SCR T1 will be turned on at a given interval, then this capacitor discharges to, this is positive place, this will discharge via T1 in opposition to the SCR T2, and T2 gets reverse biased and gets turned off eventually. So this is the operation of the simple type of parallel converter, which is also called as a center tapped converter owing to the transformer used. Just go through the modes once again. When SCR T1 is turned on, the primary current flows through the path VDC, LCA, same thing. This will generate a flux and an EMF will be induced in both half of the transformer primary windings AC and BC. The capacitor will be charged up to the total primary voltage 2 VDC with negative polarity towards A. Negative polarity towards A. The load voltage in this event, the other SCR, whenever a given SCR is conducting, the other SCR should be blocking the total voltage of the primary, that is 2 VDC. It should withstand a maximum voltage of 2 VDC. It should block. The load voltage will be equal to VDC because of the unit turns ratio between the half primary and second winding, and hence a load current will flow as per the load impedance. Whether it is a simple parallel inverter or parallel inverter with feedback diodes, this first interval up to this instant will be the same, which is called as mode 1. And mode 2 is when the SCR T2 will be turned on, the reverse biasing of when SCR T2 is turned on, T1 will be turned off due to the reverse bias voltage 2 VDC applied by the capacitor. And as T2 is conducting, the primary current flows in reverse to the mode 1 through the path. And the capacitor will be charged again in reverse with 2 VDC. The other SCR T1 now should withstand a maximum voltage of 2 VDC. Now, in continuation, when SCR T1 will be turned on at its next turn on instant, the SCR T2 will be turned off. When the capacitor voltage now, which is in reverse, it reverse biases T2. The waveform of the output voltage becomes rectangular due to alternate switching of SCR T1 and SCR T2. This is how the parallel inverter operates. When you use feedback diodes for inductive loads, the capacitor discharge comes into picture. In this, capacitor is discharging and it is utilized only to reverse bias the outgoing SCR and turn it off, and the total energy is not utilized. Total stored energy will not be utilized. But in the case of other, that is feedback diode case, capacitor will be discharging to supply the load also. That will be an added advantage. Just go through the waveforms which we have discussed so far. Gate pulse for the first SCR, second SCR. This is capacitor voltage, how it is building up. Next, this is the voltage across the SCR1. The same will prevail across SCR2 during when SCR1 is turned off, means here SCR2 will be having its voltage. Next, this is the capacitor current when it discharges, and this is the actual load current, which will be a square shaped one, or rectangular. So consider that at a given instant, first GT2 is turned on or conducting. Previously VDC, when you go through the circuit, when SCR T2 is turned on, capacitor was already charged like this, 2 VDC with upper plate as negative, which corresponds to the first interval or positive load voltage cycle. That is why it is shown a positive, this capacitor voltage for the positive interval, which was already there. Now when SCR T2 or T2 is turned on, voltage across T1, which was 0 till then. During this this is the conducting interval of SCR1 T1. So voltage drop across the SCR is 0 as it is a short circuit. Now when SCR T2 or T2 is turned on, there will be a reverse biased voltage applied across T1 due to the discharge of capacitor. And even before the capacitor voltage becomes 0, SCR1 will be totally turned off. Now it starts to block the forward voltage and it will be blocking the total voltage. Now SCR2 is conducting still, and during its conduction period, now capacitor gets charged in reverse and its voltage becomes equal to minus 2V DC. And corresponding to this reverse biased voltage across SCR T1 will be due to the current spike discharged by the capacitor. This will be fed to SCR1, so it will be turned off, and the SCR T1 will be blocking the voltage. During this period, voltage will be supplied to the load via the SCR2, and when SCR1 was conducting, the load current was negative, and during the conduction period of the SCR-T2, load current will be positive. And in alternate cycles, SCR2 and 1 are triggered together. When SCR1 or gate signal is given to SCR1, the opposite to the first interval occurs. Now capacitor discharges in reverse. This will be a reverse biased voltage, or due to this current, SCR-T2 will get a reverse biased voltage, it will be turned off. Now the voltage becomes reverse and capacitor voltage becomes same as the first direction. It will be charged up to 2 VDC, and load current becomes reversed. That is how we will be getting a square voltage. Just we will try to understand this through a video recorded while conducting of experiments by Pantech Solutions, which will be very useful. This is a kit made for parallel inverter circuit components, a simple parallel inverter comprising of 2 SCRs, which we have discussed. Just go through the video. Voltage source, inductance, SCR-T1 with gate pulse G1, cathode K1, gate 2, cathode 2 of T2, capacitor primary, secondary. In this positive pulse is given to the upper outer terminals of the primary winding. Negative is given to neutral. So in the first interval as shown, the load voltage is like this, and the when its load current is positive. This is the reverse of the case which we have seen in our slides, because the supply is given to outer terminals. So that is how it happens. We shall also see in this connection it is also shown between different terminals by taking the patch cards. You can go through it afterwards, where the currents are being made. Once the connections are made, just we will see how the voltages are measured in the CRO cathode 1 gate, G1 K1 gate triggering pulse of T1, gate triggering pulse of T2. And now load voltage is being measured, which is a very good sinusoid. When you see it in CRO, it appears as like a sinusoid, but it is mainly a rectangular wave. By using proper filtering circuits, you can use that. So that is how the demonstration goes, and that is the working of simple parallel inverter. Now we shall try to go through the same when load is more inductive and the need for feedback diodes comes into picture. Just realize these feedback diodes as the same diodes which we have discussed in previous sessions, where even for rectifiers or controllers, whatever converter circuits, where stored energy inside the load is fed back to the source or circulates within the load via freewheeling diodes. You can reckon the same thing and call these things as feedback diodes, as well as what you call as freewheeling diodes. The all other features are same when compared to the previous circuit. Only thing is feedback diodes are connected in anti-parallel to the SCRs. All other features remain the same. When the load is inductive, obviously we know that load current lags behind the load voltage and its direction reverses with respect to load voltage during a given interval. For resistive loads, both voltage and current will be in the same phase. So positive and negative half cycles of both voltage and currents will be exactly same. They will be symmetric and periodic. But for inductive loads, current lags behind the voltage by some angle to a maximum of 90 degrees for pure inductance. It will not be possible, even if it is, that is, the lagging angle is some 40 degrees. So though voltage starts from 0 instant, inductive current starts from 40 degrees. So at 180 degrees voltage becomes 0, but current will be positive still. So voltage will be negative from 180, but inductance will be still positive from 180 to plus 40, that is 220. And again, when voltage becomes positive at 360, current continues to be flowing in the reverse direction, and it will be negative between 360 plus 40, that is 400 degrees. Likewise, for an example we can understand like that. So lags behind the load voltage, and its direction will be reversed with respect to load voltage during a given interval, that particular lagging interval. So the stored energy during such intervals is fed back through the diodes D1 and D2. That will be, and again that will be reactive power which has to be fed back. The intervals of T1 and T2 and others are shown in elaborated manner over here. Try to zoom it. See the first interval where T1 is closed, it acts like a short circuit. T2 will be holding on to total 2 VDC, all the basic features, stand good, center tap transformer, all the turns ratios, capacitor will be charged to 2 VDC, load will be getting only VDC, that will be equal to upper half or lower half of the transformer primary. All those things will hold good. Only thing is its operation will become some more refined, and proper utilization of stored energy inside the capacitor, and also the load inductance will be utilized, and so the efficiency will increase. When SCR T1 is turned on, it acts like a short circuit. Current flows from VDC lines with red arrows direction. Current flows from VDC via, now C is positive, C, D, A, T1, L, and back to the source. So because of this current set up inside the upper half, flux will be generated, and also the same flux will flow through the bottom half. 2 VDC will be the primary voltage. Capacitor gets charged to 2 VDC, but again upper plate has negative which is connected to F and A. Capacitor gets charged to this thing. So once switch on, current flows like this, load gets a voltage which is equal to VDC. Now what happens when SCR T2 is turned on? When SCR-T2 is turned on, follow the same circuit. When it is turned on, the first interval, that is load is fed with VDC and corresponding current flows. Due to load inductance, current starts to increase in a sinusoidal manner. Voltage will be squarish or rectangular wave, and capacitor gets charged to 2 VDC. Once capacitor gets charged to 2 VDC, then T2 will be turned on. Once T2 is turned on, it acts like a short circuit. Capacitor lower plate being positive, now it starts to discharge. Now capacitor discharges in these violet or bluish arrows in the given direction. It flows via this, via inductance D1 and this, but at the same time it will also flow like this via T1, F and back. That is, first capacitor applies a reverse voltage via T2, T1, F. That is C, G, T2, T1, F and back to C. Because of this reverse bias, SCR T1 will be turned off as its anode current decreases to 0. At the same time, once this is totally turned off, the discharge continues in this direction via L, D1, D, A, F and back to C. So the total discharge of capacitor will be from C, G, T2, L, D1, D, A, F and C. That is how the stored energy inside the capacitor is fed back via the feedback diodes to the given section of the primary, that is only CD, it is not CA. But the potential of this C will be held at VDC only, not simple capacitor voltage. It will be held at VDC plus capacitor voltage. VDC plus capacitor voltage. Because of that, load will be getting an extra voltage more than the VDC during this interval. When the capacitor discharges, the voltage, total voltage in the upper half of this primary, that is between C and A, will be VDC plus capacitor voltage. So load will be getting a voltage which is more than the battery or source voltage. And once capacitor discharges and its voltage becomes lower than VDC, but still as SCR-T2 is conducting, now VDC supplies like this. The source voltage now flows via source in the given direction, green dots, green line directions. Source voltage, point C, now positive with respect to B, C, E, B, G, T2, L in the same direction as the previous one, L, and back to the source. Because of this, now load gets voltage from the lower half of the secondary. It will be equal to VDC again, but it will be reverse as the change the direction of the current and voltages. Load will be getting reverse voltage, and capacitor gets charged to a voltage to VDC again, but in the reverse direction when compared to the first case. That is, lower half will become -1 now. And this continues till T1 is turned on. When T1 will be turned on at its next turn on instant, now this capacitor, which is holding the charge like this, now discharges via T1 in reverse to T2. That is, capacitor discharges C, F, T1, T2, G and back. So a reverse biased voltage will be applied across T2 and it turns off. Once it is totally turned off, the total capacitor current flows via T1 via D2, now the other freewheeling diode or feedback diode in the given direction from E, B, G, C. And again, the load voltage during this instant will be more than the source voltage, VDC plus VC. VDC plus, you can say that VCE. That will go through when we go through the waveforms. So that is how it works. The sequence of events will go on throughout the operation. Both T1 and T2 will be turned on alternately. Once in each half cycle, or T1 will be turned on in the positive half cycle, turned off after quarter half cycle, then it will be turned on again in the next half cycle, that is negative half cycle. Likewise, SCR2 will be turned on in the positive half cycle as well as negative half cycle, so that each SCR will be conducting over a quarter cycle in a given full cycle. That is how single phase, the given DC source voltage will be converted into a single phase AC having full cycle. And the action of this, whether it is simple parallel circuit, parallel inverter, or this parallel inverter with feedback diodes, the sequence of events and action or operation of this inverter is such that as it is pushing the voltage to the load via the primary to the secondary, and also pulling it back when the load energy stored inside the load inductance is fed back via freewheeling diodes. It is also called as a push-pull type of inverter. So this parallel inverter with feedback diodes, or even the parallel inverter with feedback diodes is called as push-pull type of inverter. Just go through the sequence of events which we have discussed so far. Same things which were the same as for first simple inverter will be doing. That is, once it is turned on, the first interval when T1 conducts, the charging of capacitor, the setup of load current inside the load, all these things will be the same, just similar to simple inverter. And the sequence will be changed once the other SCR, that is SCR2D, is turned on. It turns off due to T1 turns off due to the reverse biased voltage appearing across. Up to this, it will be the same. Now, capacitor discharges through the path shown to transfer its stored energy to the load via the upper side of primary winding CA. This is the most important thing, which is an added feature when compared to the simple parallel inverter. And also, as SCR-T2 conducts, primary current flows in the given path. Because of this, capacitor will be charged in reverse up to the total primary voltage 2 VDC with negative polarity towards B. During this event, that voltage will be more. We will be seeing that waveform once again in just a moment with elaborated, where only load voltage and currents will be discussed. All these things sequence will be followed. The same thing. And this is how the voltage fed to the load might look like. And just observe that the gate triggering pulses are given to the SCRs T1 and T2 once in every half cycle, and they will be sharing quarter cycle. SCR 1 will be conducting for a quarter cycle, then SCR T2 will be conducting for a quarter cycle, and eventually the voltage will be, load voltage will be VDC. And whenever a given SCR is turned on and it starts to conduct, there will be a voltage spike here. These voltage spikes in forward as well as reverse directions are the instants which we are discussing now. That is, capacitor will be supplying back the stored energy. Because of this, load voltage will be more than the supply voltage. Load voltage will be more than the supply voltage. Just go through the same waveforms, load voltage and current waveforms for the parallel inverter with feedback diodes. Parallel inverter with feedback diodes, where it is a load voltage EL or VL and current which is shown as almost sinusoidal, it is IL. This is shown because of the inductive nature, and at instant T0 itself voltage is there but current is lagging. Current is starting to increase positively from the instant R or seconds, whereas voltage is there before that. Voltage is already maximum, and when voltage is becoming zero, current becomes maximum. So this is for inductive loads. As because of the inductance, it takes the shape of a sinusoid and it lags behind the voltage, and the shape of the voltage waveform is a rectangular or square wave type. During all the instances when the SCRs are conducting, this is VDC, actually the source voltage. During the other instances, this is the instance shown where the capacitor is discharging load voltage will be more than the source voltage. Just consider the things. At instance R, SCR T1 will be triggered. SCR T1 will be triggered at instance R. Current increases and becomes maximum. SCR T2 will be triggered at instant S. Just when current is going to become maximum, and capacitor discharges, SCR T1 will be turned off totally, and once it is turned off totally, the total voltage becomes reverse and everything goes from T2 only. This is the region or interval during which load voltage will be more than the source voltage, and at time t second, at time t seconds or instance t, the load voltage becomes 0, but SCR will be still positive and it will be decreasing positively, and the conduction will be taking place via SCR T2, and at instance U, SCR T1 will be triggered, T2 will be triggered at this is T1, at instance U, SCR T1 will be triggered. Now again the sequence follows. The voltage is already negative. Now due to SCR1 conducting, load current becomes negative. Both load current and load voltage will be negative between the interval from U to W. And at instance V, now SCR T2 will be triggered. T2 will be triggered. Again, the load voltage becomes more than the source voltage, during which SCR T1 will be turned off. SCR T1 will be turned off. Now load voltage becomes reverse, or it becomes positive, as T1 will be conducting. Current through SCR and load, or load current will be decreasing negatively. This is how it happens. T1 is turned on at instant R, and the source current flows from the corresponding positive terminal to negative terminal. As the load is inductive, the load current starts to increase gradually from the instance R, and it is almost a sinusoid. T2 is turned on at S, due to which the capacitor discharges and turns off T1. At S. During the period, the potential of point D is fixed by the source voltage, causing the load voltage to be positive and more than the source voltage. Load voltage to be positive and more than the source voltage. Then the load voltage reverses at T. When IL becomes 0 at U, the diode D2 will stop conducting. Until that moment, D2 will be conducting. That is the total discharge of current. And that is how it takes place. The parallel inverter with feedback diodes will be working. When it comes to advantage of parallel inverter, the load voltage waveform does not depend on load as it does in the case of series inverter. In case of series inverter, load voltage form depends on the load totally, and also the competing components which are connected in series are in direct parallel to the load under damping circuit, so load voltage waveform depends on it. It can be made sinusoidal by using simple filter circuits. Only 2 SCRs are required as compared to at least 4 SCRs in bridge type of configuration. For bridge inverter configuration, you need 4 SCRs. In this case, only 2 SCRs will do the job. It uses the simple type of class C computation, as it is simple and complexity is less. It is an economical circuit also. Commutation components do not have to carry the entire load current. In case of series inverter, they carry the load current, so the rating should be higher. But in this case, as they are connected in the primary side, where load is connected in the secondary side, capacitor and load are connected in the primary side, they are not carrying the load current, so they do not have to carry the entire load current, so they can be designed to have lesser current ratings. But it still has some disadvantages. Its magnitude changes to the load, hence it is useful only when the load is fixed. Where its load is fixed, it will be useful. It is not useful for higher power ratings as it becomes difficult to increase the ratings of the commutating capacitor and inductor. As the load ratings increase, the commutating capacitor inductor ratings should also increase, though they won't carry load voltage and currents, but their commutating rating should be increased. It becomes difficult. It can be designed to operate at a fixed voltage only. Yes, it can be designed to operate at a fixed voltage only, that is source voltage is fixed. You cannot change the voltage. It is the type of a voltage source inverter. Time for a quiz. In which type of inverters the output waveform entirely depends on the nature of load? Parallel inverter. Parallel inverter, the output waveform entirely depends on the nature of load, that is inductive or resistive or likewise. In center tap transformer inverter, the secondary to primary turns ratio should be, center tap transformer means that is parallel inverter, may it be a simple inverter or parallel inverter with feedback diodes. The secondary to primary turns ratio 1 to either 1 or 2 or 0.5. It should be 0.5, that is secondary. It should be a step down transformer where 2 VDC will be available across the primary, but secondary, that is load, will be getting only VDC, or 1/2 of primary turns ratio will be equal to full secondary turns ratio. So it is 0.5. Secondary voltage is VDC, primary voltage is 2 VDC, so it will be 0.5. Some frequently asked questions are: explain the operation of a simple parallel inverter with neat sketches, explain the operation of a parallel inverter with feedback diodes, draw the circuit of a center tap transformer type inverter. You can also be asked in different types of questions like explain the discharging of the capacitors, or explain how the stored energy is fed back to the supply, how the stored energy inside the load inductance is utilized. So many questions can be asked likewise, and so that is how the parallel inverter with feedback diodes will operate. And basically it is a square wave inverter, though due to inductive load current may be sinusoidal. So after the discussion on series and parallel inverters, we will be discussing the other type of inverter depending on the circuit configuration, that is bridge type of inverter, in the next session. Thank you.